I suppose in a way the classical Dharma point to answer from here is Buddha's emphasis on right livelihood. It's of course one of the famous eightfold part of the Eightfold Noble Path. Specifically, it's part of living morally in the world. And living morally in the world from a Dharma point of view means primarily being harmless and developing kindness to others, avoiding violence in all kinds of ways, and supporting the lives and happiness in the way of others. So in the classical scriptural discussions of right livelihood, it said any livelihood that involves exploitation of others and harm of others, obviously livelihood based upon killing or physical violence to others, and equally supplying weapons and other kind of sources of harm to others, poisons and so on, lying and deceiving in order to earn a living, all those kind of things. So I think the Buddhist person should first of all acknowledge that to earn a livelihood is itself generally a good thing, because by that you support yourself, and if you make a family, you support others in their pursuit of happiness and, if possible, their pursuit of Dharma. So to earn a livelihood is not a neutral thing. It can be actually a very positive thing. It's not just a question of avoiding harmful occupations, but thinking what positive things can one create by earning a livelihood. So as for the kind of livelihoods to avoid, I've mentioned a few that are referenced classically, but one should then consider whatever occupation or work one might have offered, one might encounter, one might think of taking up. And on that, I'd like to say that one shouldn't think it's just, for instance, though therefore a Buddhist should be in a certain kind of ostensibly caring profession. Yes, that's great. But I think a caring and moral job could also be opening a shop, running a shop, working in a shop, supplying goods, etc. In other words, seemingly neutral things can still become virtuous occupations if you practice them, if you perform them with kindness and a good intention. The good intention of thinking this is creating earning kind of food and shelter and so on for me and my family, and for perhaps I can practice some charitable giving on the basis of this, but also in supporting somebody else's business. If you're a worker in somebody else's business, if that person is running a moral business, you're cooperating, you're sharing with that moral occupation too, with that moral force that person is creating by running that business. If you're a business owner, then you can, of course, you can be a morally responsible business owner, one who likes to create a good situation for his or her workers, one who wants to supply the general public with something good, with a good service. So what I'm saying, without going too much into this, is there's many ways in which one can live a Buddhist ethical life in terms of one's occupation, and therefore in that way we bring that into the path. We see that as part of our practice, even in terms of being a shopkeeper, even in terms of being an industrial worker, even in terms of being a secretary, even in terms of whatever jobs there are or whatever jobs there are to come. And let's hope there are still jobs to come for people, by the way, and the machines aren't doing them all. But so one goes, as I say, with that basic question: am I going to be able to do something good for others in this occupation? And let me say again, even to take the responsibility to support oneself is a moral decision, rather than kind of exploit others or abuse others for one's livelihood. So one's job may be ever so humble, but it could be a very good Dharma job in that sense, a job that's very much in harmony with the Dharma. Then, of course, as one goes along in one's occupation, then one will be confronted, I'm sure, with situations which could, in a way, one could handle wrongly, one could handle with kind of aggression and fearfulness or desire, but one can overcome that, one can choose the best. So one should be trying as much as one can in one's situation, depending on whether it has a lot of responsibility or not much, to always choose the best, to always choose the good for oneself and for others. And that way one's right livelihood will not be a neutral factor in one's life, in one's Dharma life, for instance, but make a positive contribution. It will be indeed a spiritual practice. That's how one should think of it.